how do I harness my energy as a leader? That's a question you might want to ask yourself. I think it's a good one. You don't. That's the short answer. You don't. You allow it, you let it show you the way, you let it harness you. That's how it works. That's my quick 2 cents, less than a minute answer. And then we're done. Because in many of the conversation I had, so many times, myself included, have met people who tell me, Laurent, I would like to do more of this, less of that. I want to look like this. I want to achieve this. How do I push this aside? How do I do that? How do I become more of this and more of that and less of that? The answer is quite often very simple, is start to trust the way the energy is pointing to, instead of trying to control the energy with your mind by playing mind tricks, and what it should look like must be according to all the socialized templates that you have learned in your education and in your lifetime. There is a moment where we're invited to learn to recognize the power of the energy within us, and start to listen or pay attention to what you want to say. What is the essence of what's within us and what wants to, the form it wants to take. In the world we live in the education system we have, very early on, we are taught to translate, to label things, to be right or wrong, to know what is the next thing. I know in the French education, for instance, we pay tremendous importance about learning all the name of the past kings and queens and what they have done for on many centuries, where in fact what we want is to be able to make the next decision. So when do we learn to be informed by what's inside of us instead of what's in the past? And that's paying attention to the quality of the energy inside of us. When I've worked with, let's say, some people who are very good designers, or who have managed to create and to develop organizations, and sometimes many of them, the hardest thing is for them to apply to themselves what made them successful with others. Because for some reason, and check for yourself, if you answer the question, what is it that you want for the world? The big chances are that what you want for the world is what you want for yourself. So when you start to apply the capacity that you have practiced all your life to yourself in how you want to grow and develop, the easier it will be. And that means starting to amplify and recognize what you truly want to do from your heart, right? That's what we're going. We want to explore what is it that wants to express itself through me, and how, instead of ignoring it, pushing it down, and therefore having to cope with so many unwanted situations and so many coping mechanisms, I start to appreciate the direction it wants to go. I start to recognize the impact it wants to have on people, whether it's desire, striving for excellence, or creating things, or having more fun in life, or the intensity that you want to experience when you build relationship with others, or the anger that you might have and have labeled negatively so far. How do you allow yourself to, in the case of anger, to let the anger express itself in places so that you get access to its creative capacity, rather than learn to hold all your power inside of you and then not being able to lift the standards and lift the quality of the conversation with people in front of you because of the fear you have of the impact you might have on them. How many of you here listening are people who have been told that they should not do this or should not do that, or should keep their tone down, and all of these kind of things? Of course, you want to be respectful and cognizant of others people's emotions, but as much as you want for yourself. So when you start to respect yourself and to appreciate your capacity and to appreciate the amount of energy inside of you, the more you will be able to do the same for others, and therefore access what they want, and the less they will push back on the world, or the less you will push against them to get something done. So I guess that in many ways, what I'm trying to convey here is, it's not an either or game, whether I should be like that or be like that. It's both. We need to learn to, we don't need anything, but we can learn to be more available to ourselves so that we can be more available to others, or vice versa. But there is nothing to choose from between the two aspects of relationship between two people. It's the more your relationship with yourself is rich, the more it will be with other people. And therefore, it's most of the time about allowing yourself to amplify the energy that you are afraid of, to let it go, to let it take it with you, rather than holding it back. That's what I think the main message I have around this today. More might come another time, but that's what it is for today. Thank you for listening.